This week, the mysterious AT&T X Phone, a cheeky Windows Phone commercial, and more. This is the Mobile Nation's Monday Brief. Greetings, mobile delegates. I'm Ashley Esqueda, and you're tuned in to the Mobile Nation's Monday Brief. First up this week, Android Central with some close to concrete evidence of a new Motorola phone courtesy of notorious Twitter user EVLeaks. We've been hearing whispers of a rumored Motorola flagship device nicknamed the X Phone for a while now. And back in March, we even caught a glimpse of a different Motorola phone that sources claimed was definitely not the X Phone, but these two look awfully similar. The most interesting part of these shots is that this X Phone seems to be running stock Android, and X Phone ATT is used for the model number. Might we see this phone unveiled at the upcoming Google I/O? Could this be Motorola's major leap back into the top-tier flagship Android market post-Google acquisition? Will they go big with the screen, or will they stick with a more reasonable 4 to 5 inch display and go for mega battery life instead? Well, we have no idea. All that remains to be seen, so for now we'll just have to make do with leaks, rumors, and some wild speculation by you on the Android Central forums and in the comments. Stay tuned to AndroidCentral.com for any new developments. Crackberry was busy last week putting together a Canadian buyer's guide for the newly released BlackBerry Q10, the BB10 phone with a physical keyboard. There are barely any differences to be found between each carrier's hardware, but there are a lot of choices in terms of plans and pricing. Kevin and the Crackberry team compiled handy-dandy guides to buying a Q10 in the Great White North, and just like the UK counterpart guide, it's packed full of information about each carrier's upfront and then subsequent costs for the Q10. Crackberry also has an easy-to-use coverage map for Canadian carriers, as well as information on how your payment plans and contracts will work. It's a really valuable source of straightforward information, so head over to crackberry.com to take a look if you need it. Windows Phone Central had a fun week last week with Microsoft unveiling a brand new commercial encouraging smartphone owners don't fight, switch. So how are they doing that exactly? Well, by setting up an all-out melee at a wedding between iPhone and Galaxy S owners on opposite sides of the aisle.
You mean the enormously awesome Galaxy?
Search One Trick Pony.
Aren't you a little young to have an iPhone?
You want to go?
iSheep, copy bots.
Autocorrect this.
It's a bold change from Microsoft's previous ad campaigns, and one Danny and the WPC crew are hoping takes off like Samsung's next big thing ads that mocked Apple users. Well, I'd like to echo the sentiment in that commercial that fanboy fighting over smartphone supremacy kind of makes you look like a crazy person and provides lots of lulz for people like us who don't care, or they see pros and cons in every OS and device. But at the end of the day, if you want more Windows Phone, you know where to find it, WPCentral.com. Lastly, iMore has been gearing up for WWDC in June, and as they reach closer to June 10th, the infamous Apple rumor mill is back in full swing and tossing out all kinds of things from insider sources. First, we heard that Apple was pulling engineers off of OS X to work on iOS 7, which caused a lot of mainstream media to shout from the rooftops that both iOS 7 and OS 10.9 were delayed. Rene Ritchie and Peter Cohen posted a series of articles last week reminding everyone that you can't quite delay a product without a release date, at least publicly, and that regardless of what's happening now, this rumor crops up every single year, and new builds of iOS and OS X are shipped without much drama. The other more interesting rumor in my eyes is the one about Bloomberg's insider source insisting Jony Ive was focusing on new calendar and mail apps with not just visual changes, but software design and interface usability alterations as well. Well, there are a lot of iPhone users out there using third-party email and calendar apps like Fantastical and Mailbox. So if the rumors are true, it seems Sir Ive is leading the charge to get users back onto Apple's first-party app library. Keep up with all of the rumors, and there's a mountain of them, at imore.com. And try to take solace in the fact that we'll only have to deal with a chunk of them for about another month. Then we get a whole new batch of rumors. Yay! That's it for your Mobile Nation's Monday Brief. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/mobilenations. Check out our dazzling and informative podcasts at mobilenations.com/shows. And you can follow me on Twitter at Ashley Esqueda. Nations, you have been briefed.